Hello, and welcome to How to Be a Home IT Superhero, or What to Do When Poor Call Quality Strikes. I'm Emily Dye, the lead trainer here at Black Star Solutions, and I'm going to take you through a list of things to do to troubleshoot poor call quality. Working from home has become the new normal for many of us since March last year. While it's allowed us to keep the cogs turning during uncertain times, it's not without its own unique challenges. So calls and video conferences are often interrupted several times a day by things like Amazon, dogs demanding their walk, inquisitive children, and of course, the person who sounds and moves like a robot at the other end of the call. If you do experience poor call quality, your gut reaction is to get in touch with your IT department or with your telecoms provider and get them to fix it. After all, poor call quality is not only a rubbish experience for you, but it makes you wonder what the important contact on the other end of the call is thinking. However, before you ask IT or your comms provider to step in, remember that most home working telephony solutions involve the internet. That's your personal connection in some way. And one study conducted last year found that 30% of home workers reported frequent or occasional connectivity issues since coronavirus sent us all home. Even if the internet isn't at fault, call quality is a complex issue and has a lot of moving parts. And yes, we will freely admit that sometimes your telephony service is just having a bad day. However, before you raise a ticket, here are some things you can check yourself. You may just find you resolve your own issue and can add IT Superhero to your list of qualifications, or if not, it will really help your communications provider continue with troubleshooting should you need them. So, is it a one-off issue or does it happen all the time? How frequently are you experiencing call quality issues? If it's a one-off, don't panic. It's more than likely that the issue is caused by the person you were speaking to and has nothing to do with your own setup. Continue to monitor, and if you see a recurrence over the next couple of days, continue with our troubleshooting steps. Is it just me? So, the problem is occurring more often than you'd like. The next thing to do is speak to your colleagues. Call their mobile, ping them on Teams or WhatsApp, whatever. Just find out if anyone else is experiencing the same issue that you are. The more people who are having a problem, the more likely it is that the telephony service itself is at fault. If it's just you, though, keep troubleshooting. If too many cooks can spoil a pot, the same can be said for too many devices spoiling a connection. Chances are you have a limited amount of bandwidth that will be shared between everything connected to your service. So, how many other devices are connected to the internet in your home, and what are those devices doing? Things that eat up a lot of bandwidth tend to be anything that's done in real time. That's things like video calling, streaming, by that I mean Netflix, Amazon Prime, iPlayer, etc., gaming, that sort of thing. Does your call quality improve when these devices aren't connected? If so, you've found your issue. If not, you still have some checking to do. The next thing to do would be to run a speed test on your internet connection. Blackstar recommends speedtest.net, and it's best to run the speed test while you're experiencing the issue, so preferably while you're on a call that's experiencing poor quality. You should be able to get a result during even the quickest phone conversation, and once you have the result, look at the download and upload speeds. Are they anywhere near what you should be getting? What about the ping result? Ping is measuring the latency on your connection. In voice terms, latency is the amount of time it takes a caller's voice to reach your ear, and anything less than 70 milliseconds here is acceptable, and your ear will interpret that as real time. Anything above 70 milliseconds or significantly low download or upload speeds will need to be raised to your ISP. If everything looks fine, move on to the next step. The next thing to determine is whether the way you're accessing the internet could be causing your problems. Are you connected via Wi-Fi or are you plugged directly into your router? If you're using Wi-Fi, try switching to a wired connection if at all possible. If the issue goes away, it could be the router's Wi-Fi or your computer's Wi-Fi network adapter that's causing your quality headache. Try rebooting the router, and if the issue persists, you'll need to get in touch with IT about your network adapter. If call quality doesn't improve over a wired connection, you guessed it, there's still a few more things to check. So now we're getting really technical. We need to determine if there are any other settings on your internet connection or your router that could be playing havoc with calls. Probably the biggest culprit here is a service called SIP-ALG. When enabled on your router, SIP-ALG inspects all of the packets of data traveling over your network connection and potentially changes what it finds. When that comes to voice packets, it changes the header, which makes the router receiving that packet unable to decipher it. That router effectively says, I have no idea what you want me to do with this, and it will drop that voice packet. Drop packets are silence, or put another way, you don't hear that word or phrase. Too many drop packets will give you that poor call quality. Give your ISP a buzz and ask if SIP ALG is enabled on your router, and if so, can they do anything about it? And just a heads up here, Virgin Media routers are the most notorious offenders for having SIP ALG turned on. If ALG is disabled, back to the drawing board. If you've gone through all of the above and you're still having quality issues, it's time to rule out the internet connection completely. Are you able to try a different connection? This could include tethering to your mobile phone if possible, or monitoring for quality issues when you're using your telephony service in a different location, such as in the office or a coffee shop, etc. Some home working telephony services also have a mobile client available. If yours does, try removing your mobile phone from your Wi-Fi and using the client just on your normal mobile network. If quality improves, it's definitely your internet connection and you should raise a ticket with your ISP. If quality issues persist on the different network, we can effectively rule out your internet as the cause of your issues. You get what you pay for is especially true when it comes to headsets. Before you raise a ticket, if you're a headset user, you'll need to do a quick assessment. Is your headset fit for purpose? And by that I mean, is it business grade? These tend to be from trusted manufacturers such as Poly, EPOS, or Jabra. If you're using the earbuds that came with your mobile phone or something that you paid a ton for on Amazon, that could be the cause of your problem. Try using the computer's built-in microphone and speakers if possible, and if the quality improves, you've got a pretty good business case there for a new headset device. Sometimes the high-quality devices will fail too, so if your headset is decent and you're still having an issue that doesn't happen with the built-in audio hardware on your computer, it's time to get into the really techie stuff. So now it's probably time to get your IT department involved, if you have one. Ask them to check your firewall settings. Is there anything there that could be blocking those voice packets? If you need to use a VPN to use your telephony solution at home, ask IT if split tunneling is enabled. And this is another feature that just doesn't play nicely with voice calls. If the issue still hasn't gone away after these things have been checked, it sounds like you have a genuine problem with your service, and there's only one more thing to do. It's time to log a ticket with your communications provider. Before you do, though, remember that you're not the only person who uses your telephony solution, and your company isn't the only company who does either. The engineer dealing with your ticket will have hundreds of thousands of calls to sift through while trying to find the one of yours with the poor quality. So to make this job easier for them, and that means a faster resolution for you, be sure to provide 3 examples of poor quality calls within the last 48 hours when you log the ticket. Your call examples will need to include the date and time of the call, the direction, was it an inbound or an outbound call, the telephone number you were calling or of the person who dialed in, and whether it was an internal or an external call. Even if going through all of these steps didn't resolve your issue, if you can log a ticket to your comms provider with all of that information and your 3 examples, they're going to think you're a superhero. You've given them a lot of useful information to work with and will save them time in their troubleshooting, meaning you should see a faster resolution. Thanks so much for watching, and we hope to see you next time.